Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Beyond the Arc podcast. I'm Nicole Moss, and I have a very special guest with me, CBS Sports' very own Zach Aldridge. Hello, Zach. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Ashley. How are you today?
I'm good. We're fresh off our viral TikTok video where we, built a team. My team wasn't that great, but it was better than your math. So how are you doing with that?
I think this is an interesting way that you want to start off this situation. I think we want to come in on a good foot. We don't want to have beef with one another. My math was incorrect on the video. Check it out on TikTok. It does have over 1 million views, like Ashley said. But yes, 72 plus 9 is not 82. It'd be 72 and 10 or 73 and 9. I just got caught up in the moment for a quick little second. I don't want to give away all the tea. I'll let the people go to TikTok and go find it. But I tried. I tried.
Listen, we're going to put that behind us because we have a really fun show to get into. No math required. So I think that works for both of us because, as I said in the past, math is not my strong suit. But we're going to talk some Kings-Lakers basketball. Great game last night if you're a Kings fan or just a Kings supporter. They swept the Lakers for the second time since 2015-2016, beating them 120-107. Now, Sabonis had just one hell of a game. He leads the NBA right now in triple-double, 17 points, 19 rebounds, 10 assists from him, 48 straight double-doubles. But I think the biggest number here is probably 10-0, and that is his record against Anthony Davis. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, so I'm going to say it. Does Sabonis own AD?
No, he doesn't own him. I think that it's fun to talk about Sabonis being 10-0 against AD, but realistically, at the end of the day, what does it matter? And I think to me, it doesn't mean anything. I think it's a fun talking point. I think it's a fun situation to be like, oh, wow, AD can't beat Sabonis. At the end of the day, I think AD's a better player than Sabonis. Sabonis is great, but if you told me to pick one between the two of who I want to start a team with, I'm taking AD. But overall, the Kings are better than the Lakers, so it's no shocker that it's been 10-0 for the Kings over the Lakers. I think that maybe you would think that AD would get one somewhere, but basketball's not a one-on-one sport. It's a team game.
In 10 meetings, he hasn't beaten him once, and you say that he doesn't own him? I mean, maybe own's not the greatest word. I'm using that for lack of terminology right now. But I mean, being 0-10 against somebody, I own you when it comes to this basketball court.
It is a bad look. It's a real bad look. I've been on horrible streaks on the losing side of it, playing video games. So I know the feeling of when you're taking those L's. I know the feeling of when you have someone's number. And yeah, it's fun from a trash talking standpoint. Right. It's fun to be able to be like, look, bro, you can't do me. You can't guard me. You can't do nothing about this. But I think that's the beginning and end.
I mean, this goes back to the days of the Pelicans and the days of the Pacers for Sabonis. So this is not just this particular, era of their careers related. This goes back, to some other eras of their lives, and he hasn't been able to get a win against him yet. So, I mean, looking at that perspective, knowing it's not just Lakers AD, not just Kings Sabonis, does that change your perspective at all?
My question for you back to that one-on-one, Sabonis versus AD, they line it up and play. Just them. Who's winning that game?
I would be crazy not to pick Sabonis. Homeboy's 10-0.
Forget the 10-0. They line it up right now and they go play. Who's going to win that game?
I really like Sabonis' game. I'm not saying that, is his game 100% better than Anthony Davis when you look at all of the factors of who they are as individual players? No, I'm not saying this, but I think Sabonis is one hell of a player, one hell of a defender. And I think that he would give AD a run for his money. I don't know if that would be a wash, but right now, based on the numbers, I'm a numbers girl.
Okay.
I'm going to go Sabonis. I'm taking Sabonis in this matchup.
My one number from the box score last night, AD was -8 in the plus-minus, but that was not the worst minus number on the Lakers. So it's not like AD trashed it up compared to the whole entire roster. He still got his a little bit. And so it's okay, maybe maybe not. He doesn't own, Sabonis doesn't own AD. Maybe he just leased him. He's on a quick
sounds
little,
crazy.
It's just a quick little lease for right now. You could turn it back in and flip it whenever you want to, get something newer, get something shinier. AD can be like, okay, I'm out of this. I don't want to be. I can't even think of the right word, but
it's a little bit of a long lease though at this point, because it's a little bit, it's going back a couple years. At this point, it's not even a new model anymore.
Some people be on that, like, hey, I like this car. I want to put some more miles on it. Let me go over the allowance I have right now. And then when something new and shiny comes out, I'll go do that. So I'm going to call it's a lease. Sabonis leased. It's not fun as fun to say, but I think that's what I'm rocking with.
It's a very long lease. But looking at the bigger picture of things right now, the Western Conference, again, this is a conference that can change at any given night, especially when you're talking about seeds 5 through 10. But the Kings now find themselves in the playoffs. They're sitting at the 6th spot. They were in the play-in up until a couple of games ago. But like I said, everything changes so rapidly in the Western Conference. The Phoenix Suns, who fought their way into the playoffs, are now once again back in the play-in, sitting at that 7th seed. You have Dallas, you have the Lakers, you have Golden State. Now, looking ahead, though, it's really starting to look like we may be possibly getting a play-in of the 9 and 10 seed, the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, which would be an absolute disaster for the NBA, because as we know, the rules of the play-in, one of those teams are going to be out of the equation completely, which means the ratings for these playoffs may be in jeopardy. I mean, is this what the league wants, or they're hoping that something changes, and something changes very, very quickly?
There's no way we want a playoffs that doesn't have LeBron, that doesn't have Steph, that doesn't give us KD, that doesn't give us Luka. And like the chance that we have that where all of them will not be in the actual playoffs is bad news. But I'm going to flip it from just like one thought process. And I think it might just be people only here like within the CBS building. Let's say that like, okay, the ratings won't be as high potentially. And the TV rights deals are going on right now, the negotiations and everything. I'll call this wishful thinking on my part. Maybe we get a little bit lower ratings, and then the price can go down a little bit, and then we get CBS scooping in and becoming like a big major player and having some games and some packages, because folks are like, oh man, you see these ratings, I don't want to get in on this pie anymore.
Why do you think the price needs to drop for CBS to bid?
Well, because it's all about dollars. It's got to make sense. So if I can save some money and get in when it's low. Nah, the math is mathing. I think I want to get in on the low point. Okay, so if I can get in when the numbers are a little bit lower, and then I can still hop in later on when everything skyrockets back up, like sign me up for that. So that's like the one way you can spin it,
I guess we're not going to trust your math completely when it comes to this conversation.
I some numbers over here,
But I do have some interesting numbers for you. So we're talking about the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors, and the possibility that if these guys see each other, if these teams rather see each other in that 9-10 play-in scenario, how just bad it could possibly be for the NBA from a rating standpoint. So I want to go ahead and just bring these numbers up. In 2023, the Lakers Golden State Warriors series averaged 7.8 million viewers across various platforms, making it the most watched conference semifinal series in 27 years. That's one hell of a stat right there. I definitely don't think that anybody in their right mind would not want that scenario to be the case again. So, I mean, how can we avoid this from happening once more?
I think the only hope is there's no way that you're going to get the Lakers and the Warriors out of the 9-10 spot. I don't think both of them are going to get there. I think the best hope is that the Suns hop up into the 6. And I really think that that'll end up happening by the time the regular season's over. You'll see the Suns in the 6th spot, so they avoid the play-in. And then you get the Kings maybe at 7. And you need either the Lakers or the Warriors. I honestly don't know who to pick between the two of them, but you get one of them to slide up to 7. And they can get into the playoff field, and then whoever's the remaining team between the Lakers and the Warriors at that 9 and 10, they win and move in and eventually get that 8th and final spot. And that's how we get both of them in there. It's a lot to ask for, but I think it is possible because the two of the teams, they were playing like decent ball after the All-Star break once things got rolling, and now they're seeing the other way around. So there's hope, because it would be awful to get just one and done between the Lakers and Warriors. It'd be sad.
All right. Well, listen, while they try to fix my face, because clearly I'm frozen on the thought of the Warriors and the Lakers. And no, I can see it. So not sure what's going on there. But while we wait to get that corrected, I mean, let's talk about the Lakers for a second. Obviously, well, let's talk about the Lakers by themselves at least. Last night's game was not great, and we all know LeBron does not like to lose, and he doesn't handle losing very well. He's a competitor, and all he does is win, and all he wants to do is win. But life has other plans. So when you're stressed out and things just aren't going your way, sometimes all you need is a little drive, a little music, or maybe a combination of the two. And that's exactly what LeBron did after the Lakers were swept by the Kings for the second time in history. Take a look at this. Inside your soul, my baby, let me make you lose. Let me make you lose. Control. Let me be the one. I wanna be the one for you, girl. Baby, just come on. Just come on. Now tell me, girl, what you want from me. Whatever it is you decide, I wanna give my baby. Listen. Sometimes that's all you need to clear your mind. First of all, did you notice he's wearing driving gloves?
I did notice that. I noticed he hovered around the 79, 80 miles an hour, so he wasn't speeding, so that was good as well.
Well, we don't know what the speed limit was, sir.
We're going to assume it's 70. Right? I'm not going to LeBron's out here just like being reckless with it, so I'm going to say it was 70 and he's in the clear.
Listen, I think it's hilarious because it's like, you ever see those memes where it's like, you're just so mad that you drive in silence. It's either silence or it's like slow jams, R&B. You just don't want to speak to anybody. You just want to be in your zone. And that's exactly what LeBron was doing. LeBron is just unintentionally funny.
I think that he knows, though, that the people will get a kick out of stuff that he does. And he's just being himself, but like he leans into it even more. But the one thing I don't know, and I was trying to figure out, what song is that? Was that like Jodeci? I actually don't know that song. Do you?
Oh my God, my R&B card is going to be revoked because I do know it, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Nah, take it away. Give it over here. It's not yours no more.
It did sound like Jodeci, though, to be in fairness, but I don't want to go ahead and confirm that because I don't 100% know for sure.
So I'm curious then, let's say if you were in the same type of vibes and you need to like clear your mind, you just went through whatever and you're playing something, what are you going to be playing as you're driving down the road?
I'm driving the car in silence.
Really?
Yeah. I don't, I'm somebody who just like when I'm mad, like you ever see those videos where it's like when you're mad and you get like, I don't know, like if you're wearing sweatpants or something, I'm just going to use that as an example. Like the string gets caught to the freaking kitchen counter handle and whatever the case, like I'm like just flipping chairs. I'm like, don't touch me. Like I'm just annoyed like that. Like everything aggravates me. I want nothing to do with any of it. So that's the type of person I am. What about you? What are you listening to?
I'm on some R&B tip as well. First song I'm probably playing, especially if it's late night and I'm cruising, it'd be Party Next Door, Break from Toronto. Be absolutely, and I'd play about 2-3 times because the song's too short. So that'd be Party would be my first go. We got some new music coming from him on Friday, so I'm excited for that. After that, another timeless cruising song, I feel like when you need it, would be Crew, Gold Link. That's song number 2. So I'm queuing up some P&D, a little bit of Crew, cruising. I'm singing my heart out as well. I'm hitting all the octaves, like every single note, probably getting a recording deal from the video when I put it out. That'd be my vibe.
Listen, you're better than me. I'm very much. Do you ever turn this is unrelated, but do you ever turn the music down like if you're driving through a neighborhood like or someplace you got to know where the address is and like you really want to focus and get there and not have to like detour and like spin the block? Do you like turn the music down so you can think or is that
Yeah,
just me?
I do, and it doesn't make any
Okay.
sense because I don't know why, like how that's supposed to actually help me think. But I'll pull out the phone more. I'll probably put it on mute completely if I'm on the phone. I'm like, hey, I gotta go. I need to focus somehow. I gotta make sure I catch this turn. Yeah, I'm sitting in silence.
All right. Well, speaking of silence, the Warriors were silenced last night by the
Okay.
Mavericks because they beat a Steph and Drayless Golden State Warriors team. That's the Mavericks, of course. But I think that the interesting statistic of the night for me is the Mavs shot 22% from three, but defense actually won them the game. They held the Warriors obviously to 99 points on 40% shooting. Now, I think that that's really interesting because we always talk about this Mavericks team as they can put up a lot of points. You have Luka, you have Kyrie, but the defense is something that's really, really a big question mark. And obviously, there's a big question mark with Luka when it comes to his defense. It's been spoken about from analysts, it's been spoken about from former players. Some people say that is the European way, if you will. I don't know how true that is, but Luka was not even a factor in this game because he was out for the remainder of it with left hamstring soreness. But Daniel Gafford, 17 blocks over 5 games. He had 7 last night against the Warriors. What do you make of this Mavs team? Are you buying? Again, no Steph, no Draymond, but
I think overall, I think it's like a cool flash in the pan to have one good defensive night. But overall, I like the Mavs. I like them maybe to at least make it to the second round or so, I'd say. I'm a big fan of the combination of Luka and Kyrie now that they've had more time to be together compared to last year when it was like trying to figure it out, see if they can make the playoffs and all those types of things. But overall, I like their combo. I think that when they guard just a little bit to be successful, that's good. I'm big on Daniel Gafford. His nickname is the Landlord. That was my nickname in high school. So we have that in common. He hasn't missed a shot in like forever. So he's been locked in. I like the Mavs. I think they're solid. I don't want to like take too much from just last night's win when you had no Steph and you had no Draymond. But overall, I think that like just from an offensive standpoint, they can almost outscore anyone except for like the Suns, really.
But are you buying the Mavs? And look, my face is moving again, guys.
Yeah,
I'm back. Don't know what happened, but I'm here.
Come on. You can see Ashley again. We're good to go. We're good. Come on.
I was like this the whole time. It's not cute. Not my best face. But are you buying the Mavericks though? Because I think that's the biggest question mark is the talent is there. There has been a lot of questions of if you can even win with Luka. I don't know if I'm on that side of the argument yet. Yeah. Although if you ask so many people across the league from so many different positions within the league, that's kind of a consensus that a lot of people have. I don't share those sentiments, at least not yet. I just don't think the Mavericks have ever been successful at constructing a team around Luka. And I think for me, that's the biggest difference. I think Luka's the type of player, because of the type of game that he plays, has to be surrounded by very particular talent. And I think the Mavs, as a attempt to kind of rush that process, and you get it, you want to keep Luka happy. You have this superstar. You want to go ahead and win while he's in his prime. But you also don't want to rush that process. And I feel like they've been doing that. But long story short, right now, the Mavericks are sitting at 8. Right now, they're in the play-in. So do you buy the Mavericks enough with all the accolades you just gave them to actually put some money on them to make some noise come playoff time?
If Noise is making it to the Western Conference Finals or if Noise is making it to the NBA Finals, not a chance. I'm not putting any money down on the Mavs. I like them to maybe get out the play-in and win a first round and make it to the second round and make a chance to advance to the Western Conference Finals. But outside of that, like really, really be a contender, no. I think that like PJ Washington, you get him over via trade. It's not like he's a guy who hangs his hat on defense to begin with either. So I think that like he's not filling the needs and the points that lack on the Mavs. So they're fun. I think they're a cool team to watch. I think they're exciting, but like buying them long term, not a chance. But I'm not like anti-Luka at all.
Well, it's interesting because our NBA insider, Bill Ryder, has reported that many people around the league don't believe that you can win with Luka as your centerpiece to everything. So only time will tell, but I think that you and I share the same sentiments when it comes to this Mavs team and their ceiling this season at least. And that is probably second round, depending on the matchup. But I think many of us would be drastically surprised if it, went past that. But we have something fun coming up after the break because we're going to have a little bit of a hashtag scary hours conversation, but it's not in the way that you guys think. So make sure you don't move because we will be right back.
It's time for the madness.
And CBS Sports HQ has your wall-to-wall NCAA tournament coverage. We got your game highlights, expert analysis, and insights all the way to the Final Four. Start and end your March Madness coverage with CBS Sports HQ.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Ashley, Zach here, and we're going to get into hashtag scary hours. Now, I feel like that's a hashtag that when you use it, it usually backfires. You know what I mean? I've seen that be used for some teams that never really amounted to anything, but we're not going to use it in that scenario. We're going to use it in a different way. Now, Shaq was on his podcast recently, and he had a very interesting conversation about players that are scary or feared, rather. And he says that he's never heard a player say that they feared LeBron James. He said, quote, "I've heard players say, including myself, I feared Michael Jordan. I've heard players, in Mario Chalmers' generation saying that they feared Kobe Bryant. I've never heard any players say that they feared LeBron." Zach, what do you make of that quote? Are you buying it? Or you're like,
I'm not buying it at all. And I'm a big Shaq fan. Like, I like Shaq a lot. I like him whenever he has to talk about anything. I think he's fun. I think he's entertaining. I think more often than not, like, he's not a hater. But I think that this just, for some reason, is like, why is this hate, how I view it, being thrown LeBron's way? I think that, like, in this era of basketball, he absolutely, LeBron is feared. He was feared in his heyday, the black mask LeBron, when he was on his bully ball type, not friends with people in the league. Like, he was feared. Like, absolutely. Like, there's no way you can.
When was he not friends with people in the league?
Because you can be friendly with people in the league, but then you still can have that respect level where folks are like, oh, man, when you get in your bag, I know you're going to get buckets whenever you want to. And that's the type of fear that LeBron got. When LeBron would have a head of steam and get his straight all the way to the basket whenever he wanted to, when he was like at his peak athleticism that really is not that far off from where he's at right now, he 100% was feared. When people are just yelling at LeBron like, that he's not getting enough foul calls because he's being so dominant. Like, 1,000% LeBron is feared, was feared. And I don't believe when Shaq says that, or when Mario Chalmers chimes in, they say that, oh, yeah, they don't have that fear level that X other player had back in their heyday. Like, what about LeBron was not feared?
So here's the thing. I agree with what Shaq's saying, but I maybe don't agree with how he worded it. And I think that's where it's getting misconstrued. Because here's the thing. I think that there were players who were genuinely feared because not only did they have abilities on the court that were just out of this world and just like almost immortal, if you will, but psychologically they messed with you. Psychologically, you had to psych yourself up to play them because they were already messing with your mind prior to the game even starting. LeBron's never had that reputation. LeBron is just so dominant at what he does that that game's going to take everything of you to beat him. But that's not the same as fearing someone. That's just having that date circled on your calendar like, damn, I got to play LeBron James. I got to bring my A game because he's going to bring his. It's LeBron freaking James. But that's not the same as like somebody getting into your head and like just hitting you on so many different levels when it comes to the game and beating you psychologically, beating you physically, beating you spiritually. Like LeBron's, that's never been his game. That's not who he is. Like he also is somebody who so many guys have relationships with him. And I'm not knocking that at all. Like I think that's fantastic. And that's the way that I feel like the league is now. So I think it also makes it hard because LeBron is someone who shows respect and is embracing of a lot of young guys, that it's hard to fear someone who you have a relationship with outside of the game. And I just don't know if I put LeBron in that category of like a Jordan or a Kobe who like was already messing with you before the game even started. I don't know if I don't think that's an unfair thing to say.
So that makes a lot of sense, and I can't argue against that at all. But I think I counter that with, like, look at how much the NBA's changed and how much of a friend type league that it is.
Right.
Like, everyone is friends with everyone. So I think that, like, maybe we have to look at fear in a different, like, type of scope and lens from here going forward, because people are friends. They grew up playing AAU together. They grew up doing travel ball. They like. I enjoy the camaraderie that folks can have with each other, because you still can step between the lines. Like KD said not too long ago, like, do you not recognize that some of your hardest battles go up against people that you are friends with and people that you're boys with? So I think that, like, I can be like your best friend off the court, and I might not ever admit it, but deep down, I know, like, dang, like, he's a dog and I don't want to go up against him and I fear him. But I don't think you'll have people say that because of today's league. You are so friendly. You're not going to admit to your dog, like, yeah, man, I fear you. I didn't want to go up against.
I mean, I'll take it a step further, though. I honestly don't think there are any players in the league at this point that you fear.
Mm-hmm.
I think that era, because of how much the game has changed and how the league has changed and the relationships within the league have changed. I mean, I don't think there's any player that like strikes fear in their opponent like some of the guys of the past. Even Jokic, who is, just so dominant, world champion, 2-time MVP. He's not scary to go against. He's just a freak of nature. Like, when you play against him, you're just like, you're almost in amazement in real time. Like, how the hell is he doing these things? Or is he doing these things? But he's not scary. I think that era has come and gone, which is the reason why I wanted us to take this conversation and construct our own list of top 5 scariest, and I put scariest in quotations, NBA players ever. Yeah. So you being our guest, you go first, and I'll do my list after you.
You want me to name all 5 right now?
Yeah, go from 5 to 1.
Ooh, okay. So coming in at number 5, I'm going to go Rasheed Wallace.
Ooh, don't lie.
He was a dog. He was a tech getting machine. He's someone that I would not want to make angry. He's someone that, sure, he might not be filling up the stat sheet, but like his role, he's going to fulfill it to the utmost. And you don't want to get on his bad side. You don't want to get under his skin. You don't want to make him too angry. You don't want to, because like there's legit fear, I think, in the same sense of like whatever the Webster's definition of fear is, whatever the definition of scary is, like that's what he would give people in the league from Rasheed. Almost the same exact situation for my number 4 is Ron Artest. And I'm calling him Ron Artest, not Meta World Peace, because I think that Ron Artest is, I mean, you see the Pacers jersey, you see like the bald head, the low boy, you see just a ripped dude. And it's like, yeah, I know that one thing will knock him off and it'll be a bad day for me. So
he's also a little bit unbalanced. So that's also intimidating. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get from him.
You know what they say? I think the one meme about people that have like that specific head type, like you don't want to mess with those folks. So it's like, he fits that mold and he got that like, kind of like that peanut head situation. So yeah, he is number 4
He's
for me on the list.
Now. He is now peaceful. He's a changed man. So he says.
He is, but in his dog days, he was a dog that I would want nothing to do with. Like I feel like me as a kid growing up watching him, like I was scared. Like man. Like,
oh, for sure.
Just watching, like, I don't want anything to do with it. Like T-Mac, stay clear. Like T-Mac was my guy. Like I didn't want any smoke like that. So that's my number 4. My number 3, I'm going Shaq, actually.
Ooh.
Shaq is scary.
Big Diesel.
Shaq is, without a doubt, the most dominant. I think it's the deep voice. Is even when he was like skinny Shaq, athletic Shaq with LSU and with the Magic, like I'm still scared of him then. Like, because just the things that he could do with the basketball, the way he would punish you, hands down, he's scary. He's feared. Number 2, of course, is going to be Kobe for me.
Ooh, for sure.
I think that just goes without saying. If you have a mentality named after you, if you have just a whole way of life, a whole like thought process, a whole just way to go and attack your day to day, and that's because of you and the way that you just move like an assassin through life and everything you do to be a killer, to be a number one, then absolutely you're scared, you're feared. And number 1's MJ, Michael Jordan. I think that goes without saying. I think if anyone saw The Last Dance, if anyone just sees like even the mystique and the aura still surrounding MJ to this day, the fact that like we don't get many like media interviews. He doesn't talk like that. I was in Charlotte for 4 years before I was in CBS. So I was right there covering the Hornets. Like he came and spoke to the media, I think, one time in the 4 years that I was there. And that was only right before the All-Star game started in Charlotte. So it's not like he's that accessible. He even, is in NASCAR now, and we still just hear from him only when he wants us to hear from him. So that's like an aura that like a Michael Jackson type aura.
Very
like,
Godfather-like.
Do what I want, when I want. I'm moving how I want to move. And like, I walked past him one time in the hallway and I was shook. Like,
did you not want to make eye contact with him, or you're like this?
No, I looked like it's like I turned the corner and I looked up and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Michael Jordan. And then his like entourage was with him, and I kind of like smiled at one of the people in the entourage just to be like, oh, hello. But that was like truly looking up to an idol and being shook. No, that's what I did. I was like, hello. I had my camera on and stuff. I'm like, I'm new in Charlotte and everything. I think I'm like running stuff. But no, I was scared. But like it was a cool honor type of scared. Like I feel good to know that I feel something right now. That was what that felt like back then. He's number 1 on the list for sure.
Well, listen, great minds think alike, and you're going to find out why in just a little bit. We're going to dive into my list now, and I'm going to go number 5 as a combo because I couldn't decide who I wanted to give this spot to. So I said I'm going to go ahead and split it down the middle, and that is Charles Barkley and Ron Artest. Ron Artest, for a lot of the same reasons that you said when you brought him up on your list. I mean, anybody who's willing to just throw around elbows, just willingly to go ahead and win games and to go ahead and apply pressure to their opponent is somebody you should fear. I think that he was not afraid to do the dirty work, especially, when you talk about him on the Lakers, like you said, with the Pacers. Just was not afraid to get his hands dirty in, the way to win basketball games. You got to appreciate it. Charles Barkley. Now, I think that it's so funny because we see Chuck now. Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't realize that Chuck as a Phoenix Sun was a dog. Okay. Like he was mean. He was gritty. He was aggressive. He was nasty. And he was one hell of a basketball player. Yes, he's never won. And I know the guys always get on him for that. Yeah. He's not part of the ring club. But when you had to face Charles Barkley, you knew you were in for a fight. And watching, old film of him and just, watching documentaries about the Phoenix Suns and in that era, Charles Barkley was, a mean guy. So him and Ron Artest are my split.
I'm just disappointed that you're splitting. I'm gonna let it slide for the moment, but I'm just mad that you couldn't decide.
It was only 5,
and you got to make the hard decisions. It's your list.
I know. Whatever. It's my list. I'll do what I want.
Okay.
So, number 4 is a guy who I'm familiar with as a New York Knick, Charles Oakley. Listen, Charles Oakley was a mean guy, and if you can beef with your owner to this day, then I feel like that just fully cements you as just scary, mean, aggressive, whatever the case may be. Charles Oakley was just, and I love that era of basketball too, because they encourage that meanness and that ferociousness and that aggressiveness to go ahead and just be full court press when it came to basketball games. I mean, now you sneeze on the guy a wrong way and it's foul, flag, all this stuff. Like, well, there's no flags in basketball. You get the point. Yeah. Back then it was like, no, Charles Oakley, he saw you coming down, elbow. He saw you coming down, chokehold, punch. Like, it was aggressive. It was insane. And he just looked mean. he's just somebody I wouldn't want to like have to defend because I'm just like, bro, I want no smoke with you. Like, whatever you want, you got it. Coming in at number 3, it's a name that you mentioned, Shaquille O'Neal. I think Shaq's interesting too because Shaq was such a goofball. And he was like such a larger than life personality as a player. He was silly and he was just like a big kid in so many ways. But on the court, he was just so dominant and so aggressive and just, it's like a flip of a switch almost. Like it just, 1 minute he's making jokes and he's dancing during the national anthem. And the next he's like in your face, just like pushing you and shoving you. And it's just absolutely insane how you can just have such drastic different parts of your personality and they both work for you at any time that you need them to. So Shaq's number 3. Coming in at number 2, you said it, Kobe Bean Bryant. I have his Mamba Mentality book behind me. I think that Kobe, if you listen to stories of guys who played against him, Carmelo Anthony's one that sticks out in my head. He said that when the Lakers came to play the Nuggets, Kobe during warmups was just already like getting in his head to the point where Carmelo was like, did he just say that to me? Like, what does that even mean? Like, to the point where it's like now you're questioning yourself and you have to go one-on-one against this guy in a game for 4 quarters. I just think the mentality and being able to psychologically just put fear into your opponent and just make them question themselves when they know that they have the skills to go against you is what made Kobe so lethal. And because of that, just like you had him, MJ.
Yep.
Simple. I mean, this is a guy who would bet on 2 grasshoppers walking down, a wall, crawling down a wall and make you question whether or not you knew what you were doing when you placed that bet. I mean, the fact of the matter is that Michael Jordan, just like Kobe, was able to get into his opponent's head and way before the game even started. I mean, his trash talking leading up to games and then coming into games at half court saying like, I'm going to beat you, right? You're not going to hit any free throws tonight, right? And you really are just like, yo, who does this guy think he is? And then what would happen? You wouldn't beat him and you wouldn't hit any free throws. So there's Michael Jordan. And to me, that is what scary is. And that is what fear is. No shade to LeBron, one hell of a dominant player. But I think when we break down our list, because you didn't have him and I didn't have him,
right?
I think it's fair to say what we think fear and scariness is,
Yeah, I think time has changed and we can like live in the past sometimes, and that can be like fun to think back to like how crazy things were back then. But I'd have LeBron at 6 on my list if I was gonna like extrapolate it out a little bit. I think like he's certainly in the conversation, and like in today's NBA, like until they maybe change defensive rules or whatever, I think he's the closest that we'll get to having someone be feared. Because I think at his peak, he's feared more than Steph was ever feared.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Well, listen, we have a viewer list, so you and I are going to react to it, and then we'll get into our break. So go ahead, Aaron, throw it up there. Let's see what we have here. We have Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, AI, Steph. Interesting. So, Jordan, Kobe, Shaq, we both know that we agree with that because that's identical to our list.
Yeah.
AI is an interesting one because as a diehard Iverson fan, there he is right here, his cover of Sports Illustrated. I didn't have him on my list. What about you? Do you think scary, feared when you think of AI?
I didn't think scary and feared. I think maybe like it's a good way that you can maybe look and think about scary and feared because the way that he dressed, his whole aura, and maybe that being part of the reason why they changed the dress code and you had to show up, you couldn't have your street clothes on when you show up to the arena. I think that like if we go like really deep in the bag with it from like a culture standpoint, maybe he scared some people like in America. Like he was just so different. He was so like left field, like what we hadn't seen, like with the cornrows and all those things that like we thought was so cool. I think that like I can see it. And then he's a certified bucket getter, certified
sniper for sure.
So I can like spin ways and be like, okay, I wouldn't think of that, but like I'm not mad at it.
What about Steph?
If people want to argue
he's
stuff
such
like
a nice guy,
cool.
but if you mean in terms of skill set, then sure. Because, like, that, like, a few seconds left on the clock, Steph Curry has the ball in his hand. 9 times out of 10, he's going to make that shot, and it's going. Your dreams are going to be crushed, right? But if we're talking personality, the babyface killer, come on, Steph.
I think like a few times we've seen like Steph actually get angry. Like if the one time in the playoffs, I think when he threw his mouth guard.
It's like not serious.
But like I think like maybe if you like poke just the right combination, you can get like an angry Steph. And like, I don't want to get that angry Steph. I think he's certainly a competitor and not knocking like any of his desire to win. Cause like there's so many different ways you can go about getting dubs. But I think that like, okay, I can say there's a little bit of fear because he's so good and he can shoot you out the gym and maybe like just flip a switch for a second, and be like angry and then get right back to it.
I'm going to need you to sit this one out, babyface killer. I love you, though. I love you. It's no shade. Listen, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, Gilbert Arenas and Swaggy P, flag on the play. Flag on the play. We'll talk about it when we come back right after this.
CBS celebrates Women's History Month.
Welcome back to Beyond the Arc, everybody. Ashley here, Zach here. And listen, I don't know if you know this, but Jalen Green's going to be a daddy. And it's caused quite a conversation amongst NBA fans over the past few days. And Gilbert Arenas and Swaggy P are just 2 more people who have chimed in on the matter and given their opinion on the matter. But they might have crossed some lines when they did that. And we're not going to go ahead and rehash that part of it, but they told a former story about, Gilbert Arenas and Swaggy P did when they were in their playing days, and it involved Jalen Green's baby mama, Drea. And some players, current players, are not feeling the story that they told to the public. Pat Bev commented, he said, "Side note, y'all foul, not cool, not at all. Y'all old as hell talking about another man's lady. Not cool, gang." Devin Booker also chimed in. He said, "Y'all supposed to be the OGs." Shaking my head. Well, this had me thinking, Zach, about the do's and don'ts of being an NBA OG. So I came up with my own list.
Okay.
And you can tell me what you think about it.
All right. I'm
going to start with the do's. Let's start with the positive, okay? Number 1, free throws are just that, free. Work on them. As an OG in the game, make sure everybody on your team who's not an OG can hit free throws and can hit them consistently throughout a game. Fair or foul?
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. Number 2 for the do as an OG. Unless someone is severely hurt, remind them that they are playing, because you did it in your day, they can do it in theirs.
I can't be mad at that. That's fair. Okay. That's fair.
Okay. Number 3, I'm going to quote Jay-Z for this one. You want to know what's more important than throwing away money in a strip club? Credit. Please stress the importance of credit and using credit wisely.
So that last one, are you just trying to take it down we're getting the dinner with Jay-Z instead of getting the money? That's
I'm just saying, when it comes to throwing $100,000 in the strip club or investing it in something that could probably be beneficial to you when you become an OG yourself and eventually walk away from the game, as an OG, you should probably impose the wisdom that it's probably smarter to invest than to, flip it.
It is smarter, but sometimes you can also look at money as it's not real, right? You can call money fun coupons. So sometimes you might want to have fun in like that immediate situation versus looking for fun 15, 20 years down the road. So maybe like if we put a cap on it, like once every few months, you can go, blow a few racks. Cause I think it's like, if you got it, you want to flaunt it. So like, let me get that rookie contract. I got that deal. I got a little bit of money in my pocket. I want to go flex a little bit. Like, you can't tell me to never flex. I need that in my life once or twice. Like, I'm trying to go eat some lemon.
Once or twice is cool, but let's not become a strip club connoisseur. You know what I mean?
I can't shame somebody if that's how they want to live their life, right? If that's what they want to do, don't blow all your racks on that. But just like, if that's how you spend your off days, not every off day, but just
there's a lot of off days that you can spend.
Right? There's a little bit of off days. I think we can teach as an OG, like, do it in moderation, right? Like Don't be a super regular, but you can be a regular enough that you get shown love when you step in the club,
But again, you know what's more important than throwing money away in a strip club?
What
Credit.
Okay.
Okay, now on to the don'ts. Here we go.
All right.
Number 1, as an OG, please stress the importance of the following. Thoughts come and go, but screenshots live forever. Fair or foul?
Very, very fair. How are we spelling thoughts is my first question, though.
However it applies.
How did you spell it? How did you spell it when you typed it up?
I spelled it the traditional way, but anyway applies.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Number 2, I feel like we can all appreciate this. As an OG, please do trash talk, maybe even hurt their feelings, but do not punch them in the face. Fair or foul?
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay. And last but not least, as an OG, please stress the importance of the following. Yes, everyone has a podcast, but what happens in the locker room stays in the locker room. Fair or foul?
I give you a round of applause for that one. I think people need to learn the importance of discretion. Like, not every story needs to be told. And that's the biggest thing when I think back to Gilbert Arenas and Swaggy P. Like, that's a story that you take to the grave.
Right.
Like, there's no point in airing that out for everyone to be able to hear it. Like,
right.
It's a situation that y'all lived. You had fun. Y'all can talk about it in the group chat, but then, like, to air it out in front of everybody, it's like, what are we doing here? So I applaud that one, number 1 for sure.
Listen, thank you guys so much for hanging out with myself and with Zach. Zach, thank you so much for joining us. I had fun. We got through our top 5 list. We imposed some wisdom on some young NBA players, and hopefully we've made some OGs better OGs. And I look forward to doing it again. Listen, guys, Bill and John will be holding down the fort tomorrow, so you don't want to miss that. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us here at Beyond the Arc. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Peace, everyone.